post regular season superlatives here at Locked On Virginia. Follow me now.
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, your first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's title sponsor is FanDuel. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on today to get started. So yeah, everybody, as I said, this is the end of regular season superlatives. Of course, the date 3/23. It is a Friday, not just a regular Friday. It is post end of game. What is this? End of game eve season. This is the last game. So this is when we're gonna have the seniors honored for their efforts for being on campus. You know, and all colleges are going to go through this. They have their senior day, last home game of the year, or some may have already had it. But of course, this is on the heels of a win against a much-needed big win against Clemson. Of course, they won 64-57, which stopped the slide down, this depressing hill of what we feel and what we usually see is what UVA basketball is. Now that they've kind of halted, the fall, they still have a chance to get a share of the championship, regular season championship. More importantly, they got the double bye. But we'll see some things happening with, they got Louisville, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little later. But the superlatives are here in my vision and what I think. Now, what I want you guys to do, viewers and listeners, fans and friends, make sure you subscribe. Click that subscribe button, click that like button. That's going to help me out and help us out here. Continue to bring you this exclusive University of Virginia Cavaliers content every day, every week, every season as it continues to grow here. But but before I give you some superlatives, okay, for the year, let me just break down some stats, and maybe you guys can kind of formulate in your mind who you think should get some of these superlatives. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give the regular season MVP, okay? I'm going to give the defensive player of the year. I'm going to give the offensive player of the year. Then I'm going to give rookie of the year. So that'll kind of give you an idea of where I'm going with all of this. So jumping right in, let's talk about some stats here. A lot of times when you're talking superlatives, you really look at numbers. And a lot of times the numbers can be misleading, but in case we're talking about Virginia, they are, in my opinion, not necessarily misleading. I think that they are kind of, they really give an indication of what kind of players they were and also what they brought to the team. One thing about this team in particular, everything was very spread out. Tony Bennett has usually a 7.5 man. I say half because, sometimes that eighth man will get in and sometimes he will not get in. So, when Tony kind of drills down, he kind of makes it so that, he feels like he can trust a certain amount of players at one time. I think he coaches those guys, just to be, I guess, the way that he coaches. He wants them to be a certain way in the game, and he doesn't want it to be, so varied, in what he teaches them from game to game, especially in crunch time. But he did go against his in game. Now he did go against his philosophy, with that as well. I saw Tane Murray come in the game. Haven't seen Tane Murray for 20 games. He put Tane Murray in the game, and maybe Tane just coming into the game was just to maybe spread some things out. You also saw Poppy Cafaro come in the game. You didn't see Caden. I still don't know what's going on with Caden. I don't know. It's very odd what's going on with the Tane Murray, Poppy Cafaro mix, at center. But for right now, we're going to continue to talk about, what Coach Bennett is doing and also the stats before we get into the superlatives. So, Omaha Franklin, of course, leading scorer, averages 12.4 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Jaden Gardner, 11.6 points a game, 5 rebounds. Kihei Clark, 11 points, 2.5 rebounds, 5.7 assists. Reese Beekman, 9.4 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Bennett Vanderplas, 7.4 points, 4 rebounds, 1.4 assists. And then you got Isaac McNeely averaging 6.6 points, and Ryan Dunn averaging 2.6, and Caden Shedrick averaging 6 points and 4 rebounds a game. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm going and where this team, I think, where they sit in the ACC right now and what they can do is totally in their hands right now. They had an opportunity to ride off into the regular season, going into the next phase of the season, going into tournament time with the championship. With the regular season championship, and there was number 1 seed locked up, but they had just a downhill just a lot of downhill moments late in the year with this team where they're losing 2 games to one to North Carolina. First one they lost was the BC in this terrible stretch, but they have been laboring and having a hard time for the past 5 games before that. So it wasn't like this was a surprise. I had talked about it in previous shows that, all right, this cart starting to go downhill and it's just picking up momentum. And then when it finally got to Boston College, it hit the ground and kept going through the ground. And they still hadn't figured out what they could do to turn it around and to figure out where they are, as a team. But let's figure this out before we go any further. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. You can include core markets, spreads, money line, all different types of things. Total, that's also another opportunity to make some money. Players props, player points, rebounds, assists, etc. And so many more. Exclusive bets like 2x3, 2 3-pointers in the first 3 minutes. That seems pretty cool. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get the no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go fanduel.com/locked on. That's fanduel.com/locked on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball available wherever you get YouTube and all of your podcasts. So yes, everyone, jumping back in. If you're ready, I'm ready. We're going to do the superlatives right now. We'll talk a little bit about why I gave these out. So here goes nothing. Regular season 2023 superlatives for the University of Virginia Cavaliers basketball team. First, let's start with the Rookie of the year. All right. Rookie of the year was very difficult for me to anoint. Now, because of this, I had to split it. All right. So I have a co-rookie of the year. Uh, and as I have the co-rookie of the year uh, award, I had to figure out how I was going to do it. But it was too much talent, too many game-changing moments by one player, and one player was pretty much the best consistent shooter. And the sky's the limit. Everything looks bright. Usually, this wouldn't be a hard award to give away. Just jump into it. My first award for Rookie of the Year, which I had to split it, so we have two co-rookies of the year. First, I'm going to give one to Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn, his numbers totally fools you if you try to go off of numbers. Ryan Dunn, quite frankly, is the biggest game changer on this team. I can count maybe 6 to 7 games that when he's come in with a highlight play on defense, or a highlight dunk, an energy changer, a game changer, on offense. He has done so many things during so many games to change the energy and the trajectory of a game based off of his big plays. You know how you have like a Deshaun Jackson in football where, he may not get a lot of targets, but when he does make a play, it's like a backbreaker or it's like such a big play, it almost ties up or clinches the game for a team. That's what Ryan Dunn is, the ultimate X factor. And he has won that award. He almost, in my opinion, I was going to give it to him exclusively. But then I had to pull it back a little bit. And I had to think. I can't leave my man Ike McNeely out, man. Isaac McNeely. And the reason why I couldn't leave him out is because he is the most consistent three-pointer shooter on the team. Even though he's coming off the bench, he's a rookie. The kid is a dead-eye three-point shooter. And then he's taken over a few games himself, when the team needed outside shooting and they could not score. And Tony Bennett was not giving, in my opinion, not giving him in the minutes and therefore limiting his shots. The kid can just straight out shoot. The future for Isaac McNeely is so bright from a scoring shooting standpoint. I am imagining him in the next year or two just shooting like 5 or 6 3-pointers in a game. He's just a freshman. He's getting bigger and stronger, faster, and now he's tapped into his ability to drive and finish at the bucket. As a first-year player, he could always shoot, but now driving to the bucket, I'm looking at him averaging 15 points a game. Let's go. Ike McNeely. So, had to do it, guys. Rookies of the year. Less work. All right, next thing I got, Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, I got to give it to Jaden Gardner. Jaden Gardner, 13 preseason ACC. The most consistent scorer, not the highest scorer, the most consistent scorer on the team, especially when this team is down, not when this team is up or tied or has the confidence that they need to continue on to lead and close out the game. I'm talking about a player when the chips are down and things get tough and it's a gritty situation. My guy, Jaden Gardner, consistently coming in, scoring points, shooting that nice silky mid-range jumper. Jaden Gardner, offensive player, second leading scorer on the team, averaging 11.6 points a game, 5.5 rebounds. Just a consistency. One of the consistent players that you need for any kind of success. And, him being the player who scores in the paint mostly, that's what you need. An undersized power forward, effort rebounder. But he can shoot that little mid-range shot. And when he gets going, usually the team really benefits, and it almost makes the team almost impossible to cover if he's making and scoring his points at close range with the mid-range. Offensive Player of the Year, Jaden Gardner. Now, we're getting a little higher here. We're going Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Reese Beekman. Got to give it to Reese. He's done the Reese Beekman show for the entire year, locking down the most explosive, most dangerous perimeter players for every team. Now, there were some players that really got at Reese, and Reese got shown up a little bit. But when it came down to it, brass tacks, Reese still getting in the lane, getting steals, changing the momentum of games on the perimeter. Got to give it to Reese Beekman. My guy is the only player. Well, I'm not gonna say the only player, but the player on the team currently, where a lot of NBA players or a lot of NBA scouts have looked at him and said he's the one who has the possibility to go in the first round of the draft. He's starting to pick it up again. He's starting to be more assertive on the offensive end, and they need that come tournament time because right now it's pretty much do or die. You got to keep winning or you're going home, and they're going to need him to continue to be the defensive stopper that he has been his whole career at the University of Virginia. So, Reese Beekman, Defensive Player of the Year, 2023 Virginia Cavaliers. And now I finish it up with the MVP. And this was a tough one, but I really went back and forth on who the MVP was. Now, somebody's going to be left out. And you guys may yell at me. Leave some comments in there. If you guys agree with me, you disagree with me, just throw your comments in there. Tell me what you think. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know. But I'm going with this. My MVP of the year for this season is Mr. Kihei Clark himself, Mr. Wahoo, who really, in my opinion, gives this team the heart, the grittiness, the experience that this team has needed to get where they are. They're getting ready to either tie for first in the regular season for any ACC, and he's continuing to do his thing. Uh, you know, became the all-time assist leader, and also became the all-time games played, all-time wins, all-time games played, whatever it is. Kihei has surpassed everything. Minutes played. The guy is a warrior, for the squad. And we, all the people who have criticized him over his career, we're going to really miss him next year. I don't care what you guys say about that. We're going to miss Kihei next year and his consistency. Yeah, he makes some mistakes. He makes some turnovers, or he has some bad turnovers. He gets blocked because maybe he's being a little over aggressive. Maybe he passes up on some shots that maybe we think he should take. But really, his consistency as a leader on this team is unparalleled and is, my opinion, the main reason we're in the position that we're in. Bottom line. So right now, my MVP regular season is Kihei Clark, MVP. And honorable mention, was Armand Franklin. Armand Franklin was the leading scorer of the team. He averaged 12.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, and one assist. He was the leading scorer. But it was either, give him the offensive player of the year, but he would disappear in stretches, like really disappear. It was like he scored more points, more points per game, but he would also have some really small scoring games as well. So I just couldn't give it to him. Jaden Gardner, and in times when it was tough, consistently, I seen Jaden Gardner step up and continue. Even in those losses, in those tough times, Jaden Gardner just kept producing. Hard times and in good times. You got to give it to Jaden. And then the regular season MVP, I'm looking at more than just scoring. All right. I had to go with my man Kihei Clark because defensive end, you've seen him spark the team on the defensive. You've seen him spark the team on the offense. You've seen his leadership. You've seen him put players in the proper position to score and also players in proper position to play tough defense. The leader. And then, of course, the unquestioned leader, the heart of the team, the heartbeat, is Kihei Clark. Okay? So he was my season MVP. Comment, give me your idea, tell me what you think. But that's what I feel is the superlatives. Those are the superlatives for the University of Virginia 2023. And I know I'm doing it a little early. They still have a game tomorrow. And I will be in the house against Louisville. Coach Louisville gave them everything that they wanted in Kentucky a few weeks ago and almost pulled off the upset. So 2 o'clock, make sure you go, have your what we call beverage of choice. Also, your food of choice, whether it's wings or whatever, pizza. Make sure you get settled because it's going to be a good game. I think, the University of Virginia players and the seniors, we're going to have Kihei have a walk-off, to the sunset with his parents. He kind of did it last year, but wasn't sure if he was coming back. Glad he came back, but this is definitely a walk-off this year into the sunset. Also, Armand Franklin, who has the opportunity to come back or not come back. That'll be interesting. I'm going to try to record as much of this as I can for the seniors. I'll get there. I'm always there early, but I'll make sure that I'm settled, seated, and see if I can get a good view of all the players on senior day before they get out of here, out of University of Virginia for their last game for the regular season. Jaden Gardner as well. He's leaving, and he'll be graduating out. I think he's out of eligibility for this. And then Poppy Cafaro as well. I believe he's going to participate. But we'll get you some more information about that as the day goes on. But I'm going to see you guys maybe a little bit later or tomorrow, and I'll do a tail of the tape for this Louisville game. Just make sure you stay tuned to Locked On Virginia here with Big Law. Also, catch me on Facebook, where you can find me. Look for Big Law, 7 City Shop Talk Sports, Lawrence Johnson. You can get me there and check out some of my other content. Also, you can check me on 7 City Shop Talk Sports, my other brand. Also, No Quarter. Holler at my guys for that. And there's a whole bunch of different things coming down the pipe. It's great. Not to mention, March 14th, we have spring football starting. The game is April 15th, but March 14th, spring football starts for the University of Virginia. A whole new cast of characters on the offensive side of the ball. Looking forward to seeing what happens, as far as quarterback goes and wide receivers as far as the starters. So we need to figure that out. We got a lot of transfers in. They actually did some interviews yesterday, and we'll bring you some news about that as well. But I got to say, thank you guys. We love you. All right? But before we go, looking for a delicious treat but don't want the fat and calories? Then you got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal was to eat a little healthier this year. If you're like me, when you want to eat a little healthier but don't want the compromise taste, then man, I've got just the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthier is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious you won't think they're good for you. Perfect for, the New Year's resolution. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they are covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievably good flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built Bar does it, but these bars taste like candy bars, while maintaining amazingly good macros. And what's better is that they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today. Walk to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run into Sam's Club and grab a 13-bar box, or with our hit flavors brownie batter and churro, you can thank me later. Thanks again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you guys. I love you. I will see you later today and tomorrow for the Louisville game. Thank you for making it. This is great. We'll keep this train rolling, but make sure you subscribe and like, and we'll keep this baby rolling for you. Wahoo wah. I'll see you guys a little later. This has been Locked On Virginia.